We know you want to hear more of what Andrew and John have to say. Don't worry, we will. But first, let's hear what they got into earlier today on Kincaid and South Tunis.
Did the Boston series, games 5, 6, and 7, make an impact to you as a Sixers fan where you think there's still something in the tank, this group? All right, that's one question. Do you have any optimism with this core, mainly because of games 5, 6, and 7? And then how are you feeling if nothing changes at all?
They got it. Look, like, I can just pray for change and just pray that we're finally going to get it. And hearing Ramona yesterday, and I did hear it, going into the gym, and I was a little depressed. I watch Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City plays like they can
do all kinds of stuff.
They can. They're so versatile. But it's such a well-oiled machine, too.
That's because they built a great roster. Shea can do everything. They have shooters. Chet Holmgren can do all kinds of stuff.
Correct. They're fast, though. The style of play is so engaging and entertaining. And the style of play, when you've got Joel Embiid, the style of play is, honestly, I don't like watching it.
Why would a change necessarily have to happen? Because I'm watching a baseball team in this city that decided not to make any changes for 3 straight years, and I've watched them go backwards for 3 straight years.
And then they keep doubling down on, let's just keep it. They keep adding old man contracts to that team, saying it's eventually going to work. It's not.
Now back to the show.
Yep, a lot of Sixers talk today, but real quick, an update on the Flyers, the orange and the black,
What?
Amy, last week, you missed an all-time call. I forget the guy's name. He had the tinfoil cap. So this was Friday.
That was GP.
Friday.
Was his name.
GP was his name.
Believe.
Friday morning, there was a reason why my local ShopRite was out of Reynolds Wrap on Thursday when I went to the store.
GP bought it all?
Because GP bought it all. He was wondering why Owen Tippett was not playing and why they had not announced anything. He goes, well, just saying lower body injury in the playoffs is not good enough. I think something must have happened off the ice. And we were like, no, he's hurt with still a chance to come back, which is why they're not announcing it. He did not want to hear it. He was full on.
We thought he got in a bicycle accident or something?
like full on, that's happened already in this city. Full on.
We still don't have that solved. Still not solved.
I didn't even think of that. I was thinking about how would you injure your lower body?
Unsolved mysteries.
It was a running accident. I'm sorry.
Head.
Owen Tippett.
They just put out a statement. His statement. He was unable to return for the second round series due to internal bleeding that he sustained during the first round series versus Pittsburgh following a series of medical evaluations.
You could see him get hurt in the Pittsburgh series.
Yep.
It's not like it was a
walk it off. Yeah.
Walk off internal bleeding. Come on.
Those guys
I thought the hockey guys were tough.
They are tough.
So Owen Tippett, breaking news. It had nothing to do with off the ice. It has everything to do with he got hurt and was dealing with internal bleeding. That's why Owen Tippett never returned.
And that is
hopefully GP is listening, John.
That is a hockey guy.
That was the funniest thing.
Remember we had a caller the other day who was telling us that something tells me that there's something else going on. Like there's something going on here that we're just not being told about the Owen Tippett situation. And I'm like, there's nothing. What are you talking about? Nothing being something.
And
not being told.
let's be honest. If we've learned anything in the last, I'll say year, but really 6 months, there's very little secrets that are out there in America.
Yes.
Everything comes to light at some point. So like the foil cap, I appreciate you guys thinking there's always some bigger picture about some injury or your player not being available or some closed door meeting that you thought happened and they're talking about. Everybody finds out something.
Yeah, but
we'll always find out. There's going to be pictures.
I'm going to blow you away. A.J. Brown really doesn't want out of town.
I don't. Is that? Are you sure?
Yeah, you started it. You and your people and you and the media.
Us.
How dare you guys?
How dare us?
It's you guys who did it. AJ wanted to stay.
He loves
He's
it.
being run out of town.
All right, before we get to Tony, let's go to Will in Brookhaven. Will, you're on the Fanatic. What's up, Will? Hello.
Hi, Will. You've been holding. We're ready for you.
Come on, Will.
Will. Yeah, see, Will was holding.
Put Will on hold.
Come on, Will.
Will.
All right.
He was holding. He was ready to go, but he was talking to somebody else, I think.
I
We tried.
We got yelled at for not taking enough calls yesterday.
Will,
I
hang on.
tried.
We will come back to you, Will.
Why don't you guys take more calls? I go to Will, and Will's, out in the wilderness somewhere. All right, joining us now.
Here we
on
go.
Kincaid and South Judas. It's a Tuesday with Amy. Amy Fadul in studio with us. His article made its rounds yesterday from The Athletic. It's pretty cool that a certain show in town has been speaking to him all season long.
Yes, now he's the
saying.
hottest
Love that
guy in
show
town.
every
Just
morning.
saying, that morning show on 97.5, The Fanatic, has been talking to Tony Jones all year long. Tony, what's up, man? Good morning.
I feel like I'm family at this point. Do y'all have like a refrigerator I can just go in and
Oh, dude,
get, like,
anytime.
a couple orange juice?
Anytime you want to.
Anytime. You name it. I have an orange juice in my garage fridge that I think has been there since Christmas of 2024. So it's all yours if you want it. I stare at it. I go, I'll get it next time.
No,
And
you
then
won't.
I find
No,
it
you
the
won't.
next time.
And you just shove it right back.
All right. So
next time you go jogging, that garage orange juice is gonna be jogging with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Tony, you had the big article, man. So credit to you. There's a lot to unpack from it. But let's start with the future of the Philadelphia 76ers and the front office. I know you said that they're going to be talking a lot this week about what they need to do. So I'll ask you to read the tea leaves a little bit. Do you believe that Daryl Morey will be the president of basketball operations for the Philadelphia 76ers in the 26-27 NBA season?
I truly think that it's up in the air and that it's 50-50. I think what I do know what I do know is that he is conducting business as usual. He conducted player exit interviews yesterday, and he is in Chicago conducting, franchise business in terms of, at the draft combine. So it is business as usual. I do know that, ownership is going to take, a few days, or however long ownership wants to take, and really evaluate, if there should be a major move one way or the other. But I mean, we're looking at, evaluations of Daryl and also evaluations of Coach Nurse. And I think that, as I wrote, I think that they're compelling conversations, to either bring back or not bring back both guys. So it's going to come down to, what ownership feels is the best course of action. And I think that process is underway, and it's going to take a few days.
All right, then I'm asking Tony Jones this question. What's the case for Daryl Morey to be back?
I think the biggest case for Daryl Morey to be back is that this is a cash-strapped roster, right? I think we all know that.
Created by,
yes. That's the other case. So this is a cash-strapped roster, and there are two ways, in my estimation, for this roster to improve significantly. One is VJ Edgecombe develops into a superstar or a star or an all-NBA level player. I think that that's one plausible way for this roster to improve significantly. I think the second plausible way is you nail all of your draft picks from here to smithereens. And Daryl Morey's arguably his biggest strength as a GM at this point is his ability to draft. So I think that that's probably the reason why you would want to bring him back, in terms of, this team has the assets at this point are draft picks. There are a lot of second round draft picks over the next few years. There's a first round draft pick this year. There is the Clippers draft pick, unprotected, in 2028. There's an unprotected pick swap in 2029. There are your own first round picks. And if this roster is going to get better around the financial constraints of Joel Embiid and Paul George, that's the way the roster is going to get better.
Tony, one of the things that was troubling, though, to read in the piece is that, again, it seems as if players within the team were upset that certain players on the team feel that there are different rules for them as far as whether they're supposed to attend meetings and everything like that. What went on April Fool's Day?
Well, I mean, in the story, I mean, there was an emergency team meeting at the team hotel. There were, certain players and there were coaches, and, they expressed frustration over the way the season was heading. And the fact that, their player participation among multiple players was lacking. So no locker room wants to have, because I've been in locker rooms. No locker room wants to have one set of rules and then another set of rules. The reality is this: it happens because, if I'm the 15th guy, guess what? I can't fall asleep in the team meeting because the third or the first or second, third guy can probably fall asleep in the team meeting, if that makes sense. But if the locker room is going to exist the way a locker room should exist, on the aggregate, things have to be the same. There are certain things that can be different, but on the aggregate, things need to be the same. And I think that there was some frustration expressed for that. I think, obviously, wrote in the story, it came close enough that, there was going to be no team shoot around that day. But shoot around was saved, and, and players went to shoot around. And the Sixers actually got better from that day. That was April 1st. I'm not sure, I can't speak to whether that was the reason, that things kind of got better. But, you listen to the players and you listen to some of the comments, some of the subtle comments over the course of the season, and even some of the subtle comments on Sunday. We went through a lot. This team went through a lot. How much adversity we went through. This was a tumultuous season internally for the Sixers. And, and I think the fact that, this team did win 45 games, did get to the second round of the playoffs, I think that when you look at some of that stuff, just from that perspective, not overall, but from that perspective, I think it was a better season than it was last year.
Going forward, it's going to be something. Also, hi, Tony. That is going to is that the evaluation process of this roster, and I don't just mean the stars and what you have to do with the contracts and whatever else. There wasn't enough down that line. There wasn't enough behind probably four players as far as going forward. When you think about the front office, confidence level that you have in them to find enough, because you look at the teams that are winning right now in the NBA, and they're not 6 deep. They're 8 deep. They're 9 deep. And I know the rosters and the rotations get tight in the playoffs, but you need to have players available so you're not having your stars play 45 minutes. Going forward, who's making those decisions, and what are those decisions going to be as far as what they need to get better? Because you can look around the league and just say the Sixers just don't have enough down that line.
I think that this is such a great question, and I think that the answer is so convoluted. I think that one of the things that has made Daryl's tenure unique in Philadelphia is that the NBA changed over his tenure, and this is what I meant. In 2021 or 2020, was it 2020 or 2021? I think it was 2020. This was a top-heavy league, right?
Yep. There's like 4 teams.
Yep. You get 3 guys at the top of your roster, 3 great guys at the top of your roster, and that can carry you to a championship. And you fill in behind the first 3, right? And it's just no longer like that. I think the way you win in the NBA has changed over those 5 years. You look at the San Antonio Spurs, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and you look at the New York Knicks, who, in my opinion, have been the three best teams in the postseason, or the three most impressive teams in the postseason. What are their characteristics? Those guys are 9 or 10 deep. They are super versatile. They shoot the heck out of the basketball. Obviously, San Antonio's an outlier because they have an alien. They have multiple ball handlers, and they have guys who can scale up and scale back defensively. So what does this Philadelphia team have? It has one very, very, very dynamic point guard, one very dynamic rookie. It has, Joel Embiid, who is still, to his credit, one of the best scorers of this generation, but has been so compromised defensively as opposed to his prime. One of the things that I thought was not talked about with Joel in his prime is how good a defender he was. I thought he was the second best rim protector in the league.
He was like an all defensive. You're exactly right.
Yeah, and he's just nowhere near that anymore. Nowhere even close to that anymore defensively. So this team needs shooting. This team needs, 4 or 5 more rotational level players. It needs a lot more depth. It needs a lot more ball handling. It needs, I think, what hasn't been talked about, the roster really lacks dynamic passing. I think your best passer on the roster is Joel Embiid. And, in all respect to Embiid, that probably shouldn't be the case. So there's a lot of work to do on the roster. You've got a really dynamic backcourt that I think has a chance to be one of the best backcourts in the league. You have Joel Embiid for whenever he's healthy, and you have Paul George, who right now I think is a dynamic role player. He's not a star. He's a dynamic role player. So you got to find a lot. And, if that's Daryl in that seat, he's got his work cut out for him, because there is such a gap right now between the Philadelphia 76ers and the New York Knicks. And I don't think the Knicks are going anywhere for the next couple of seasons.
Mm-hmm. Tony, this is going to be a little long-winded, and I apologize, but I want to go back to 2 questions ago when John asked about, the April Fools, and you were talking about how certain players are treated differently. That's not something totally new in sports, but going back, there was a time where Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons were 100% treated differently by the franchise, by the leadership group of the organization, because they were supposed to be the saviors of the franchise following the process. So from what you were saying, just me picking up on what you were saying, it sounded like it was a really long year for a lot of the guys on this team. Do you believe, and I know we throw culture out all the time, but there's a team down the street that prides itself on culture, and they're the most successful one right now in the Eagles. Is this a player culture issue? Is this a GM/president of basketball operations culture issue? Is it a coaching culture issue? Or is it the overall organization that set a certain standard that's not really working out well for this organization?
I think if you look at the 76ers this year, I think you can probably safely say that not everybody was pulling in the same direction. Everybody wanted to go in the same direction, and that's towards the championship, right? Like, if you look at the 76ers down to a person, from the top of the organization to the bottom of the organization, from Daryl Morey on down to the video coordinator, they all wanted to win a championship, but they weren't pulling in that same direction. And I think that there was some acknowledgement of that. I think Embiid himself acknowledged that, and he said it, in a couple of quotes. One quote that I thought was pretty eye-opening to me, he said, everybody has to get better. Ownership on down. Ownership, players, coaches, including me. Everybody has to get better. Everybody has to look in the mirror. Everybody has to say, what can I do to get better? Because And I think that's the one benefit of what happened in New York. What happened in New York is one of the most embarrassing things I've seen to an organization ever. You lost a Game 4 on your home floor where you gave up 144 points in a playoff game. Think about that. They gave up 144 points in a playoff game at home to a team that's one of your main rivals, whose fan base comprised of probably about 70% of the fans in the building that day. It doesn't get any more embarrassing than that. And if that doesn't make you say hard truths or tell hard truths to yourself, then nothing will. So I think that's the first thing that this organization has to do. They all have to get on the same page. I don't think they were all on the same page this year. And I do think that behind the scenes there was, I don't know if misery is the right word. There's a lot of adversity for sure.
Yeah.
Well, what was the page that they weren't on? Is it it's my team versus your team? Is it this is what I want versus this is what the organization want? Like, obviously, Embiid was open about not wanting to trade players away. Like, I'm trying to figure out what were they not on the same page about that could have led to this kind of disconnect?
Well, I think that when you look at, some of the players, and then I think you look at, the coaching staff, I think that there was some not on the same pageness there. I think that Embiid is not on the same page with the front office in terms of what happened at the trade deadline, and I don't think it was just Embiid. In fact, I know it wasn't just Embiid. I think and it wasn't the fact that the front office traded Jared McCain. That wasn't. I know people report that that's what they were mad about. They weren't mad about that. They were mad that that Jared McCain was traded as much as they liked him, but nothing else came back in. Right. That was it. And here's the same thing. I know for a fact that Daryl Morey had multiple trades lined up for guys to come in that fell through, and one in particularly that fell through that the front office thought was going to go through. And that's what I mean, right? Like, they were trying to get to the same place, and it just didn't work out, and it created an internal conflict. So the players were upset that McCain was traded away, and he was a helpful piece, and nothing, and a helpful piece didn't come in. But the front office was like, yeah, we tried to make this happen, and it didn't happen. Mm-hmm. So somewhere along the line, lines have gotten crossed and communications have gotten crossed. And when you see the teams that compete for championships, nothing's ever going to be perfect, right? You get a team together for 7-8 months in an 82-game season, and what you hope is a 16-game playoff run. Lines are going to get crossed. Nothing is ever perfect, but it has to be as close to seamless as possible if you are going to win a championship. If you look at the Denver Nuggets, the year that they won a championship, they were pretty close to seamless. And then the very next year, the coach and the GM started hating each other, and it got to a point where the coach and the GM were both fired on the same day the next year. So, it has to be, the communication has to be there, and I don't think that communication was anywhere close to where it needed to be with the Sixers this year.
So let's bring them all back. Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Tony. We appreciate all the
time,
information, buddy.
Great article in The Athletic. Check it out. And, I'm sure we'll be talking again soon. Thanks, brother.
No problem. Thank you so much.
There he is, Tony Jones. I'm glad that nobody's on the same page, and yet they might all be on the same team still.
Yeah.
I don't feel better after talking to Tony. I actually feel worse. I feel worse.
I feel like we're all in it together. Does that help?
No.
Oh.
No.
No, that
because I just feel
I think that he was trying to point out that there were this is not unusual. It's just concentrated here. That's kind of the takeaway. Like this happens everywhere, but it keeps happening here. You know what I mean?
Here's what I worry. Front office or people above Daryl Morey go, well, it's not his fault that the trade fell through, and they might be able to make that trade happen during the offseason, and let's see what that product would have looked like over 82 games. And then we're doing it again.
I mean, obviously, the complete counter-argument is like, it wasn't 82 games. You'll never get 82 games.
No, of course.
That's what Tony was saying. Like, you're looking at the best iteration.
How about 55? How about 60?
Don't hold your breath.
Exactly.
Coming up
We're
next.
getting 33.
Let's get some reaction to that text line.
Of all three, you got 21.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You got 21.
That, and Amy, I know you loved watching the Sixers on Mother's Day. Will you love watching the Eagles on Thanksgiving? We get into that next here on The Fanatic.
Kincaid and Sal Chunas, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5 The Fanatic. Coming up at 10, Middays with Marks. Now more of Kincaid and Sal Chunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and The Fanatic app.
The final hour of Kincaid and Sal Chunas is presented to you by The Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. You need details? Go to Bagster.com.
All right, it's 9:35.
Amy
here
can
on
do
Kincaid
that.
and
Dumpster
Sal
in a
Chunas.
bag.
That's good
I
work,
say that
Amy.
all the time in my head.
It's the cadence, too. You have the cadence
It's a
down.
dumpster in a bag.
Yeah, you have to have the little pause.
My
It's good
favorite
work.
thing.
Little pause.
My favorite thing.
Thanks to Tony
marketing.
Jones, by the way. Tony was
Good stuff.
great.
Make sure you check out his article. It's good.
Check
Really
out
good.
his article. Check out the interview if you missed it, or if you want to go back and listen to it, you can on 975thefanatic.com. We'll also have it on our YouTube page. I'm sure Austin will put it out there. And make sure you're listening later on with Middays with Marks, Johnny. Because Howard Eskin,
What?
is this allowed?
Howard's coming on?
Is going to be joining Middays with Marks coming up at 12:25 today. He put out a tweet yesterday that he what did he say? Life support.
Life support.
Life support for
Yes.
both Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse. So Howard Eskin will be joining Middays with Marks in the 12 o'clock hour today. 12:25.
Intern for Howard. So I can tell you, I survived that. He was a good person intern for. He let you do stuff. He let you
That's
do
always a
things.
good
Oh,
part.
that's good.
You know, an
Yeah.
intern that lets you.
Yeah.
Like, he puts his interns
wanna-
to work. It was good.
You want to get that's how you get the experience.
Exactly.
That's how I got my experience. And then somebody complained a couple years later that they worked too much and didn't get paid.
And that's killed the intern program.
Why'd you complain about that?
Oh, I didn't. I got hired.
Yeah.
That person was also upset that they didn't get hired.
They hired some dopes.
Says the people that are currently working here.
I'm going to say. Some dopes.
Hey,
Hey, we're self-aware.
Not you.
Self-awareness.
longest tenured
is
employee
key.
at the Fanatic, baby.
It's amazing.
All right.
That's a moving target, so be careful.
Yeah, I know. Amy, Thanksgiving. We find out yesterday that the Eagles will be taking on the Cowboys in Dallas, of course, on Thanksgiving. And one of our questions is W or L.
Do you remember who the last time they were down there was 2015? Who was the quarterback?
For the Eagles was Sanchez,
Gardner
right?
Minshew.
Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez.
Yeah.
Oh, for Thanksgiving.
Sanchez.
It was the Sanchez.
And then he did
I'm
the,
thinking
he
of the
did the
Christmas
carry,
Eve
he
game.
had karaoke. He lived
Listen,
up those
I was
3
gonna say,
weeks.
Has there ever been anybody that enjoyed their status as a Philadelphia
He was drunk
athlete
outside
for,
of Geno's.
for just this tiny little bit? 3 weeks. He was riding high.
Well, no one
Garrett
got
Stubbs
stabbed.
would like a
no one
word.
got stabbed, so that's good news.
I
That's a
mean,
great-
just really
That's
a
good news.
concentrated time. Like people enjoyed their time here, but it was spread over years.
Yeah.
This guy was here for 3 weeks, and he got every experience. Where did he? Was it Yakitori Boy? Is that where?
Yeah,
he
he did the
was? Was
karaoke
Yakitori
there.
Great
Boy?
spot.
He was drunk
Great spot.
outside of Geno's.
I mean,
with a bunch of people.
The only thing he was missing is like doing shots of Jaeger in the Northeast, like at a gas station. That's it at 5 a.m. That's the only thing he missed from his tour here.
Now, if he was the Eagles quarterback right now, Larry Krasner would have had him out on bail. So he'd be out. He'd be ready for week 1. So we're set. He could get back.
I appreciated that he really went all in though.
He
Let's
did.
get the full
He was
Philadelphia experience.
Well, he goes all in wherever he is. Wherever he is, he finds
amazing.
his way into it.
Yeah, we won't hear his name this year.
No.
will we?
Not unless you're watching like the true crime novels.
Amy, so Thursday, Thanksgiving Thursday.
4:30, which is an odd time
Favorite
for like
time.
but like as a planner of the meal,
What time do you
right?
guys usually
A lot of people eat around the 4-ish time.
Yeah, we're usually at 3, 4 o'clock. family.
Right?
We're
That's
like
a lot.
3.
Yeah, well, the game's going on.
I just scarf it
4:30
down.
is the game.
You
though.
scarf it down.
Wait a minute. Wait.
So then you're like, you can't scarf down Thanksgiving. First of all, that is a.
Whoa. Have you ever seen me eat?
I
ate
have.
an apple in
Wait a
45
minute, though.
seconds.
Wait a minute, though. Let me ask you.
But Thanksgiving is an all-day feast.
But do you do the appetizers early? Correct.
Correct.
Then you
That's
eat.
like a- it's like a-
If you sit down to eat at 3.
You should be done and ready to go.
But
see,
are you one of
we're
those?
4 o'clock.
But are you one of those families that does? Christina has already said so. 4:30. Okay. Dessert will be halftime of the Eagles.
Well, no, I'm going to plan
Because
everything
we
based
don't
on
do
this
dessert-
4:30 timeline now. So everything will be wrapped and ready, and we'll be cooked. We'll be
We've
done.
seen
Yeah.
families though that do dessert right after everybody eats the meal.
I've done that.
Yeah.
We do not.
That was the South
We
Tunis
always
Thanksgiving.
have a delay
Well,
before
it's
dessert.
probably more helpful. You probably eat less
Yeah,
dessert.
yeah.
But like dessert. Like
Most people just go straight
we always
through.
have a. We used to have an
It's
open.
a day of gluttony, John.
we used to have
just
it, but we used to
pile
have an
on.
open house thing where people would come over for dessert.
Right, yes.
And just
'Cause
have- so
you've
that
had
way we-
time to and now it's time to catch up and
So
mingle
everybody
and
does
visit.
their own things for Thanksgiving.
Right, and you visit
and
over
come
dessert.
over and watch football.
Yeah, no, we're
and-
kind of like it's pretty soon after, and then once you've settled in, now it's halftime. Then you go back, and now you're having.
now you're having.
So
your,
do you like it?
I do like it.
Because we love it.
The
I
4:30
love
time, I'm like, now I have to backtrack everything.
You like it. Connor's out. Well, he's going to watch, but Connor does not like that
What
they're
do you mean
playing.
you're out?
Plus, you got
Too
turkey
much
trot
going
in the
on,
morning.
man. Too much going
What
on.
else is going on?
I
It's
gotta
Turkey
go-
trot in
Thanksgiving.
the morning.
I go to 3 different houses for Thanksgiving. Like
You need to
there's,
go ahead and button that up.
I can.
Yes,
Talk
you
to my
can.
family. I get invited a lot of places. I'm
That's
popular.
the thing. Sure.
And what
That's
did
why.
what did we tell you this morning? You have 6 months
You got to button that up, friend.
to let them know, hey, this is. I need to be sitting down on the couch
I'll
watching the
handle
game.
it on
on
There's
4:30.
one thing I always tell students when I go to talk to students at Temple or to
Yes.
Rowan or wherever I'm getting to speak. And thanks for everybody for always having me out. It's
They
always really
love
great.
talking to you too.
It's working in this industry because of the hours we work. We work holidays.
Oh, yeah.
TV's on all the time, right? Sports are always happening. Holidays, this is a prime example. You have a built-in excuse. You don't want to go to that third nephew's birthday party.
I watched the game.
Sorry, I got to work.
Yep.
So button it up,
Yeah.
Connor.
I'll try.
Button it up. This is part of
I
your
feel
job.
By the
bad,
way,
though. I want to be with family.
Letting you know now, we're working the next day.
There you go. You got
Yes.
to button
I'm
it up.
working that day.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'll
button
be
it
doing
up.
pregame.
I usually take Black Friday off. I usually work Thanksgiving because mornings, whatever.
Well, Black Friday was super busy last year. Everybody played on Black Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
so,
now the last couple of years, you've done Thanksgiving morning. I do day after because I do the run on Thanksgiving morning,
right.
Turkey trot.
which I've enjoyed. Yes, I've enjoyed that. I don't do runs like he does, the 10 miles.
Are you doing?
That's
Oh, yeah, you
nutcase
did the-
stuff.
Well, you did the Broad Street. Well done by you.
Really good stuff.
Good news is we'll be talking about a W.
But by the way,
Yes.
there's-
Oh.
just so you know, Amy, we had a
Or
lot
an
of
L.
people chime in that don't
That's how it works.
They don't like it because they don't want to have to be invested, which I also understand. One of
They
my
just
favorite
want to
things,
watch the Lions and the Cowboys and not be like.
and I get that. Like,
Yeah. I think you're a little bit invested in the Cowboys game, depending on who they play each year,
yeah, but
because
like,
you want to see if they're any good.
what one of the guys was saying on our YouTube channel was like he's also with family that might not be the biggest football fan, so now he's answering questions that he normally doesn't want to.
Button that up too, friend. Okay, this is a time for decisions to be made.
See, that's the crazy thing to me too. I just never like. I guess my family's more blue collar. Like football and Thanksgiving is just implied.
But I think that he's saying like people might have it as background, but he's going to be like locked in, like every down. Jalen Hurts, and there's going to be a guy being like, "Hey, yeah, what do you think about
Our holidays
gas
are not.
prices.
Our holidays are not a Rockwell. Like everybody dressing up in their nice sweaters and sipping cocktails.
We were away last year, and it was actually like fun to have other people like
Yeah.
invested
Oh,
in your
there
teams
you
too.
go. All right, coming up next, speaking of the schedule, we get all of it Thursday night, and we'll react to it Friday, W's and L's. I think John is going to have the Eagles winning double-digit games. And I know it because of your second email where you have sent me strength of schedule that you're all excited about. So if you're buying into it, that means you think they're going to win a lot of games.
No question, I do.
We'll talk more about that next here on The Fanatic.
Kincaid and Sal Chunas, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5 The Fanatic. This is Kincaid and Sal Chunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Sometimes the random conversations off the air are better. What happened to the China cabinet?
She's so
I
Southern.
have a china cabinet.
Amy is so Southern. I like knowing.
There are traditions that continue with me that have been passed down to me by my grandma and by my mom.
But you are Southern.
I was born in Virginia, correct?
which is definitely Southern.
It tends to be sound that way. They will
They're
identify
still
that
fighting
way.
the war in some of those
Sure,
parts.
some of them are. Good luck, folks. It's over. You lost. But yeah, no, I mean, I like that. I think it's still kind of a fun thing to carry on, the China tradition, the silverware. It's real silver, and it does live
But
in
you
it.
have it
napkins
passed
are in-
down.
I
Is
have it passed down.
anybody creating a new China cabinet?
I mean, around here, no. I don't think it's no, I shouldn't say that. There's some, because I know I have some friends that, that where we live, that's kind of something that their mom did, and they're from
On the
here.
main line, you will find
Well, I'm sure, yeah.
yes.
But yeah, I think
you
it's
don't see me walking around those
Napkins
parts.
are your Thanksgiving napkins when you're using your good china.
Do I have linen napkins?
Are the linen napkins? Do they have like
They have a ring.
a ring? Yes, I knew it.
have a ring.
Okay, I knew it.
These
They're
are
not
very
just
rare
folded.
occasions I get all that stuff out. I don't get out the silverware because you have to polish that stuff.
I said you have the velvet
you have
holder
to. That's
for
where
your
you have
silverware.
to keep it.
Guess
Otherwise,
what,
it gets
guess
tarnished.
what Mother's Day napkins we use at the South Tunis house?
Well, now I use like
Mom
whatever.
on them from the dollar
No,
store.
I use whatever we left. We
Dollar
got,
store,
good,
but just regular white napkins
But you
that
got
were
those.
$1.
but they're heavier.
the napkins we use are either A, paper towels, or 2, whatever we got extra from like the restaurant or fast food place.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah. I have a drawer of like
Because
Chipotle.
they give you like
and,
so
yeah.
many, and I'm like, well, we're not wasting
Not
these.
wasting these.
Yeah, there's
Right?
nothing
Put those
better
in the
than-
middle of the table.
Nothing better than randomly opening the drawer. There's 8 chopsticks that I have still in the packaging.
Still in the package. You
And I
never
go,
know when you're going to need it.
I might use those one day, so they're going to
You will use
stay
it for
there.
something else. I will tell you, I've used chopsticks to get stuff out of things, to help with toys.
What are you,
fix-
MacGyver?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I had
There
to
you go.
mark my sprinklers once. I used skewers.
There you go.
Because I didn't have the flag,
We
so I
like
just put skewers in
Plants
the
are brought home from school. There's your little stick handing to make the plant grow. Chopsticks left over.
Junk
You
drawers.
guys-
That's why
you
we
know
have
what?
That's why it's
one.
called a junk drawer.
I don't know which one of you I want to run the Sixers. Whether I want Amy to
The
run it
junk
or
drawer?
Andrew to run it, because you two are displaying something right here.
Well,
that
one
I
of us
don't-
can be
that I-
Daryl, one of us can be
Yeah, but
Elton.
you know what I'm thinking is though? No, because I need both of you to work. I need to know. I need resourcefulness.
vacation.
I need resourcefulness. And Connor, an example of what I need. I need new ideas. And those two just spit out a bunch of stupid new ideas. Now they're stupid ideas, but they're fun.
Hey.
and I
Yeah.
want new ideas. I want new
Yeah.
thought process.
I think that's fair.
I don't want old thinking.
All right. Speaking of thought process, you love this Eagles strike the
I
schedule.
love
this,
it.
This is your.
Oh, I love
I
it.
have to say, I love, and I did a deep dive because I was on with you guys the first time we looked at the Sharp football. Warren Sharp.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The fact that, and I talked to Dave Zangaro that day because I think I did Bird's Huddle, and I was like, we have to talk about this. And he said, I know. The fact that it took this long for somebody to figure out we should do an aggregate of what the odds makers are talking about rather than the traditional is wild to me.
Yeah, he's the
like Dave and
best.
I were talking about it. Dave was like, "Of course that you should do it that way. Like, why are we just now in 2026 thinking like, hey, maybe we
Vegas
should
Well,
like."
knows
he's been
the thing
doing this.
to do.
Warren Sharp's been doing this a long
He has.
time.
He's a
but
great
now he
resource.
but now his star
Yeah.
has risen to
It
where
was a great piece. It's really well done when you look at it, and it doesn't mean it's a complete 1-to-1 prediction. But I think it's a much more realistic opportunity for what you're going to see from the teams.
But here's what the Athletic did yesterday. So they put on Warren Sharp's piece, and then Dork Boy took it extra yesterday. At this time last year, the 49ers, Patriots, and Saints were expected to have the league's easiest schedules.
All right.
All 3 of them beat their Vegas win total expectations.
Love that.
The Giants, Browns, and Lions projected to have the most daunting schedules. And the Lions shockingly missed the playoffs. The Giants won fewer games than expected. And the Browns were the only one of those that barely beat their 4.5-game win total, snuck by.
Yeah, they had a
with the
great
upset.
year.
And they snuck by at the end. But they beat their 4.5-game win total. So just to look at that.
Oh, that's true. They did.
In the last, if you go by the same metrics, in the last 5 years, the teams that have the 5 easiest schedules, all right, will exceed their Vegas win totals better than 80% of the time.
And the Eagles
Last
are at
5 years.
11 and a half?
5. Yeah, but they're 5.
Right.
Yes. So just saying to you, when you have an easy schedule, last 5 years, whatever that Vegas win total is, 80% of the time, they're going to exceed it. And if you have a really tough schedule, it's going to kill you. So
Yeah.
just so you know,
I know that John.
I love it.
We'll just have to figure out. So their win total is 11.5. You have them at least winning 12 games. So I have this year's way of trying to figure out John's
I was
W's
going
and
to
L's.
say, you're trying to.
I know that John has at least 12 wins.
I will. No, you know what I'm going to do before Friday? I'm telling you before Friday. I confirm that.
All right.
Okay, confirmed.
You just made my life easier because I have
that.
found tricky ways to get you to do W's and L's. I know that you have at least 12 wins.
So you're going to like sneakily ask.
I
Like,
just got to figure out which 12.
Right.
Or you got to figure out.
figure out the L's first.
Yeah,
That'd be
I
easier.
think, I
You're
think
right.
Amy's smarter there. See,
Figure out
this
the
is why
L's.
you and maybe a tandem. We
work.
take over the Sixers. Andrew,
Open up
and
that
Amy.
drunk drawer and see what we got. The junk
Hell yeah,
drawer's
man.
got
Andrew and Amy.
random duck sauce in it. It's got a battery that you don't know if the battery's good or bad.
Chip clip.
I just threw out
No.
a
Dozens of
soy
chip
sauce
clips.
packet.
Yeah,
No, Christina has the battery holder that looks like a toolkit.
See, that would
you
be
can
helpful.
take
That's
it,
not what the.
and you
That's,
can automatically test the battery right
I have
in the
that
top
downstairs.
of it too.
That's in like my tool drawer.
Oh, she's got a little
but my
cabinet
junk
holder.
drawer, I have like
Oh,
random batteries,
there you
There's
go.
a rubber band in there.
random charger cords.
It sounds like the Sixers roster.
Broad Street Run. My bib. I was like, oh my god, wait, I don't have anything.
Safety
Junk
pins.
drawer. Found my safety
pins.
All right,
Genius.
Amy, you're the best. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thanks for
Amy.
having me.
We have
Good to see
Middays
you.
with
I always enjoy
Marks coming your way next. Johnny Marks, Sean Brace, and don't forget they have Howard Eskin joining the show today. Johnny at 12:25.
Really?
Howard Eskin,
Genius.
Middays with Marks, 12:25. Talking more about the Sixers. Everybody have a great rest of your day. We're back at it tomorrow. Connor, you're leaving today.
Yeah, I am. I'm
Bye,
shipping
Connor.
up to Boston.
Great trip.
Have fun.
I'll bring back
Safe
a couple
travels.
of wins.
Throw the tea
Thank
into
you.
the water or whatever you do up there. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow here on The Fanatic.